Album Talks.
We're very glad to have you here, Basketmouth. Thank you very much
Oh,
for joining.
thank you very much. I see you did a very detailed research. Thank you.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big
It
fan.
sound it
Aside from
sounds
the
so
research.
different and nice hearing it from you. You
Thank you
can you
so
do it?
much.
Can you say it again? Yeah. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here myself. I think it's the first time I'm doing anything like this. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. I like it.
Thank
So
you
yeah,
very much.
let's go.
All right. So I have my first question for you, Basket. So you have actually dropped, I think November 2020, October. I really cannot remember. And
I think it's in
it
October.
was it was really good. It got all the laurels, even if it was not like the biggest album that was out that year. The people that listened to it could testify to the fact that it was that good of an album. So I just wanted to ask you if, I mean, you've been in the industry even way before you started, curating albums and everything. Were you confident that, or did you expect that kind of, positive reception that okay, people are going to love this music? I mean, after all, it's not exactly very mainstream music, but yeah, the love and the outpour and everything was so positive. Like, did you expect that?
Yeah, to be honest, I was anxious, but at the same time, I was confident that
Okay.
the album was going to be good. And the reason I could, get myself to feel that way was because I've been paying attention to what's been happening in the industry. I saw that they accepted what Ill Bliss, what Fino were doing, and all that. And if Fino and Ill Bliss, they were able to, marry the Igbo, sound and blended it with hip hop, which was what I was trying to do
Okay.
I think that was back then, 1995, when I failed. So I noticed that the consumers were more receptive to that sound, and I already had it locked down, so it was pretty easy to create it. Luckily, I had the perfect guy to work with, Dr. Seth, and no, it started when we did when we created the first sound. I was even more confident, but closer to the time of release, I started getting a bit anxious, and I was hoping that people get to accept it. But I was pretty much confident that it was gonna be dope. It was gonna be a dope sound, and for me, I don't try to create trending music. I just create, just good music that can be defined as timeless sounds, right? So that way I'm not time bound by what's happening right now. So yeah, so based on the fact that I was trying to perfect every track on that album, and I think I did a pretty good job, it built the confidence. So yeah, I was confident and anxious. That's the answer.
All right. Thank you very much. And it makes sense. I mean, when you look at it, because when you spend so much time working on a project, you begin to hear all the little, imperfections that people might not hear that might be perfect in their own
Yeah.
ears, and so you'll be like, this and that and everything. So, I mean, music's like your first love. Before you got into comedy,
Yeah.
you once used to be a rapper, if I'm correct.
Yes, yes, I was.
Yeah, and then you went on to have, an all-time career as a comedian.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now you're in a position where you're like one of the most brilliant A&Rs in the industry. Was it?
Amen.
You don't need to say amen. It is a fact. So was it like after the whole rapping thing didn't really pan out the way you wanted? Was it like an intentional decision that okay, I'm not going to be like a music head, or it was as a result of the experience that you garnered that time while you were working in the industry that you used to realize that okay, this is the next step that I want to take, in this music path.
So what happened was when I tried my hands in music, back then, and it wasn't working the way I wanted it to work out. And I had a backup plan, which was comedy, which I did not know was there, but someone pointed it out. I said, "Guy, come on, do comedy now. Leave this music thing for now. They are not ready for you." So I embraced comedy. But all through my years doing stand-up comedy, I always knew at the back of my mind that, Bright, you're going back to music, so but just have fun.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if you pay attention to what I created back then, even the show I was doing then, it was called Laughs and Jams. I was blending the comedy
Yeah,
show with
yeah, yeah,
music,
yeah,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah.
So I made sure that I knitted music into everything I was doing. So that way I'm still familiar with what was going on in the industry. And during that time, we made a lot of songs. I did two songs with Wizkid, with LD the Don. I did songs with Daria Falade, Phase of the Plantation Boys. I was just working, but I never got to release anything. You know, I think I did one. I think I released one, but that was a long time ago, maybe about 15 years ago. But I didn't push it. I was just trying to see how people will embrace it because I didn't want to go too hard on it because I might mislead my fans. So I was really careful because one wrong move, and you're done. So I did that, and then in my mind I was like, "Bright, you can't do this. You can't go to music full time anymore. Let it go, and just produce albums." And then when I was listening to our sound back then, um, I always I'd be telling my friends, I'm like, man, this song would have been doper if they had done X, Y, Z to it. And I kept telling them every time for not every song, for so few songs
Okay,
that
okay.
that came out that time. I was like, man, it's almost there, but this thing they did, they made a mistake. So my people were like, guys, every time, which one will work for you, sir? And I was pointing some out. I said, guy, okay, this one is 100%. This is good. But you see, this one would have been. So I continued doing that. I did not even know that what I was doing was A&R, you know.
Okay.
So when it was time for me to now produce my own album, it became easier because I'd been, you know, working on different songs that were in mine and fixing them, for over a decade. You know,
Wow.
yeah, I was doing that mentally, and sometimes the people around me, I'll just share with them. I say, look, like, and most times they see my point, or rather they understand where I'm coming from. So when it was time for Yabas, it was easier for me because I see music in colors. I see so what I see is like a blank canvas, and when I'm hearing the beat, it starts coming up and everything becomes, so the music calls for the artist, not the other way around. So it became easier for me. So all I needed to do was to create the sound with Dr. Seth, and whoever is going to jump in it, the song will call that person. So yeah, I think it was intentional, but at the same time, God made it possible and easy for it to, play out the way it did.
All right. Thank you very much for that answer. That really explains a lot. But I want you to buttress on something further. You said the music calls the artist, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So when, like, in the process of creating a song, for instance,
Uh-huh.
it's you already have like a structure in your head and maybe the topic or the concept of what you want to do on that song, and then you
Yeah.
bring in the artist to fit into that narrative.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works. So what I do is, like with Papa Benji, with Yabas, which was made for Papa Benji, I had a story. So it was just when I told Dr. Seth, so what I did first was to bring Dr. Seth in and tell Dr. Seth the story. And I told him the texture of the picture, right? The kind of sound I wanted to create for the project. So he understood everything I was trying to make. So we made the first beat together. because I needed him to understand the direction. And the first beat we made was the last song on the album, which was Udo, right? When we did that, I kind of like produced it because there was no way he'll understand what I wanted except I kind of share my thoughts
Oh,
with him. And Dr. said is he's just an amazing guy. He understands me 100%. So when we did that first one, he just told me that, boss, don't worry, I got this. I know what to do. So he started coming up with different sounds. And while he was doing that, because I knew the story, top to bottom, I knew what each sound, each like so for each sound, I knew what I'm going to be talking about based on the sound. So we created the album based on the story, right? So
okay.
there's something that we've not done with that Yabas album, and hopefully I'll be able to do it. The Yabas album is actually a movie. Like it is a story. When you listen, when I break it down, you understand the story and you understand why we picked certain songs. It's about a guy that wanted to get married but couldn't afford it. He lost his job and all these things. And the pepper soup joint was where he went to after he lost the job. So Duncan Mighty, we split the story all together because of finance and every other thing. So that Duncan Mighty video wasn't supposed to be the way we did it. It was supposed to happen in a pepper soup joint. And that's how everything was supposed to play out. But I couldn't go through with the initial idea. So I had to I collapsed everything. But we stuck with the sound, but we couldn't achieve the visuals. So yeah, everything is done from the start, from the scratch. And when we start making the sound, that's when we know who is jumping on it. So it makes it easier. That's why, sometimes, and because of the artist, the song is made for the artist. The artist is ready to express himself as best as he can. It's not hard for them anymore. You know. So yeah.
Okay. And you also correct these songs, if I'm correct.
Not necessarily, not, but but I guide the direction.
You
I
guys do.
guide that. Yeah.
Okay. So like, in the process of making this music, you bringing the artist into your vision on, what you want them to execute. Definitely there always has to be this middle ground that both of you need to, kind of reach.
How do you mean?
Like, you're the one with the vision of, what you want songs to sound like and
Yeah.
how you want to execute it. And so you're, like you said, you're guiding the artist. So
Yeah.
has there ever been like maybe a session where the artist wasn't really, coming, like tuning into your frequency, and it was like, it was very difficult for you to like execute what you had in mind?
No, no, that never happened.
Okay.
Not
Wow.
for
So it's
once. Yeah.
always
It was
always very
it was
straightforward.
always very quick. The only thing that happened the only thing that we did was, it was in cases where we needed to like, do a different take because the emotion wasn't there, you know. So that's the only thing we do, but it's always very quick when always very, sorry, 1 second. So, so it's always very quick when we go through the process, right? Because of um, so what we do is the we bring the artist in, we play the sound, he hears this. No, no, actually, we tell them the story, play the sound, and the creation starts. Most times, it takes about like 10 minutes for the artist to drop his vibe on it, and sometimes it takes 30 minutes for the artist to be done writing. When we did Assembly of Gods on the second album, it took a
Okay.
while, but with Assembly of Gods, what we did with that album was we took everybody's verse according to how you heard it.
Okay.
Like the first person that took his verse was what's his name was Fal's the bad guy. The next person, and that's how we recorded that album until the end. Because that kind of album, you don't want to start mixing things like get this person from here and get no, you don't want you ruin the whole experience. So yeah, that's what we did.
All right. I have a clearer picture. So I've been talking about still on the sound of the album and just all three of them. You can trace their origins to like high life, um, traditional folk music, and I don't know. Like this is a very innocent question. I hope you don't get offended by this, but
No,
I'm
no, no,
just
please.
curious. Okay, I'm just curious because the first time I heard Yabasi, I was like, okay, this is a really cohesive album. It's a great
Yeah,
sonic experience. Like it feels like it feels like a body of work from start to finish. And then it reminded me of another album that sounds very high life, blends high life with pop, with R&B, and that's Show Them Comps Palm Wine series. And it
oh
also
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
help. It also didn't help because Show Them Comp was also on the song in that album. So I was just wondering if perhaps maybe the any the Palm Wine music series, as a whole, influenced the sound on the albums.
And to be honest, it didn't. And because I've created these things, these sounds like from 1995. You know, like
Okay.
Udo, the sound that we did with Udo, right? That's the progression, everything. I produced that song the first time in 1995. Um, the one from even from Horoscope, the last track, Assembly of Gods, it was the same time I created those beats, so to speak. And at the time I was creating Yabas, I hadn't heard the full album. Like I hadn't heard the Show Them Camp full album, right?
Okay.
I was actually more in love with the rap, like their rap music,
The
and
Clone Wars series.
yeah, and I loved this their voice, the texture of the voice, and that was what pulled me in. It was when I started paying attention to their sound, and I realized that oh shit, these guys are doing pretty much the same thing that
Yeah.
I'm trying to do. And it would be nice. Trust me, I'll give them that accolades or respect if they influenced the album. I won't take that away from them because come on, we all influence ourselves anyway, But it wasn't what happened. I had already gotten the vision, an idea for Yabas, many years ago.
All right. So back to let's go down to the album that we're talking about today. So
Yeah,
I mean, I hope I'm pronouncing this because I know Yabasi and Uburu are words in the Igbo language, and
yeah.
I'm not so scared. Yeah.
No,
So
Boris, well pronounced.
all right. So I know that Yabasi and horoscopes were like soundtracks. They
Yeah.
were intended to soundtrack. Horoscopes. The movie. I don't know if that movie eventually came out.
No, not yet.
Okay,
Hopefully
not yet.
next year. Yeah.
All
Production
right.
is pretty difficult.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's an exclusive for us.
Yeah.
So, but Uburu was Uburu crafted with that mindset.
No, it wasn't.
Okay,
So
so it's the
Buru,
first. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
so what happened with Buru? Like I told Dr. Shed, I said to him that look, Horoscope is gonna be our last soundtrack album. The next album we're dropping is just gonna be an album, like a studio album, no nothing. And what happened was the thing about Uburu is this, yeah, until the second part of the album drops, that's when it will all make sense to you, right? I
okay.
didn't just have time, I was running out of time. Uburu wasn't supposed to be 7 tracks, it was supposed to be 10 tracks. You know,
10. Okay,
I didn't have that much time, and if I let it pass October, it will ruin my plan for next year. So,
okay,
which is the reason we decided to drop the 7 track um, album, and next year February we'll drop the remaining 13 tracks. It was supposed to be 10, but now we're pushing it to 13 because we cheated people on this one. We're trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
But the UBURU album is just a studio album. It's not influenced by anything. I just wanted to express, like, I haven't done anything like the kind of music, the kind of sound we did with Party, for instance, the second track on the album. I've never done anything like that, you know. So with the UBURU album, I took it, I actually took it as a project where I can express myself in, different ways. So that's what you're going to be seeing all through, the part one and the part two. Just more of an expression of what I have in this head. You know, yeah.
Okay. So still on the bird. What's your favorite song on it?
On Buru. Ah,
Yeah.
damn. It's gonna be hard because I feel I like every
Everyone.
song on the album for different reasons. Now, the Chasing Dreams is the oldest song on that album. It's
Okay.
the one song that I've heard consistently for the past 3 years. Like I listen to that song once a week for the past 3 years, trying to figure out, how to complete it, because it took me a while. So
Wow.
it took me a long while. Timmy Dakolo took that hook in, yeah, the same time we're producing Yabas was when Timmy Dakolo took that hook, and we
Wow.
kept it, and
Wow.
the same thing with Link Up, the one with Bodge and Duncan Mighty. It's like about
Okay.
2 years ago as well. So for those ones, I have, they are
Special
now my
love.
friends. They are now my friends. They live with me. Yeah,
Okay.
and my roommates. But with Coco and Park. So for each song, I have different attachment to each song, so I can't pick one over another. So it's kind of hard, I won't lie to you. But the one song that I easily go to, yeah, anytime, like when I jam the album, like one of the songs that, okay, what I do is that I shuffle. I don't play from track 1 to 7. I shuffle it.
Okay.
So most times when I shuffle it, I'm like, okay, let me see what's gonna come first. But the one song that when it comes first, I get excited is Link Up because I like how it makes me feel.
Okay.
You
No problem. So, moving on. If I want to ask you this, Basket,
Yeah.
would you agree with me? Would you
Mhm.
agree with me that Nollywood is evolving and making good progress?
Oh yes, 100%,
Okay.
100%. Yeah,
And we've
I
seen
think
some. You can go on. You can go on.
it's quite impressive what they've done in that industry, and I'm happy that they've started telling their own stories gradually in bits, and down to the picture,
Yeah.
the story line, the
Cinematography.
casting, yeah, cinematography and all that. It's pretty impressive. I'm glad, I'm happy to be alive, in this time of the
And
evolve
to
and
also
you
to
know
also be a part of it.
yeah, to be part of it as well.
Yeah. So what is your opinion on, as someone who has mastered the art of soundtracking series and movies, what is your opinion on the music scores and movie soundtracks currently? Do you feel they've taken that step forward?
I'm sorry, I know I might get into trouble for saying this, but I'll say, me, I want to be honest.
No, no, hit
I
the
think
nail on the head.
they're doing terrible. They're doing so
Wow.
terrible in that
Wow.
aspect. Like sometimes I cringe.
Wow.
Oh damn.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but it's so like I'm a movie freak. Like I love
Okay.
movies. Right? I love
Yeah.
movies. Like I watch movies from people like all these what's this guy's name? I forgot. This Del Toro, the guy that did Lab Pan's
Guillermo.
Labyrinth.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro,
Yeah,
all
Guillermo
those
del
kind
Toro.
of directors.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that that So I see what they do with their sound because to be honest, if you watch a scene in a movie, right, the sound is what changes the emotion that you feel as the consumer, right?
It
We
places you
don't know.
inside.
Yeah, our people depend so much on the actors to carry the mood. But we
Okay.
just want sound. It can change it, but they're not taking advantage of what we have. And we
Sound.
have the music. But you see them sometimes, it doesn't just blend. So most
Okay.
times it's and me most times when I watch movies, I want to watch a movie that is well rounded. Like, you know, don't let me critique your stuff negatively. I want to appreciate it. So,
Yeah.
because in scoring, you can't go wrong. Just look for a great, music producer. Spend that money and get them to, do the soundtrack of your album and give them the story. Just don't tell them, okay, give me this song, give me that song. That's what they do most times.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
understand?
agree.
Give me this song. It will never work. It's just like bringing 10 different footballers. Yeah, come, let's go to the World Cup. No training for a day. It doesn't work that way. So you're supposed to bring those music producers, tell them, let them understand the story, you know. And sometimes you can finish the movie and let them watch the movie,
Mm.
and now create the sound. But
Okay.
everybody wants to rush and do this thing. So that's why I can be honest with it and tell you that,
Story.
hoo-ha, I lie, 0/10.
Okay, but you said something about like them not being ready to spend the money. Like, do you feel that's the problem? Like they don't
That's
want
not the
to spend.
problem. That's not the problem. That's not the entire problem, to be honest. Like, so the thing is that some of them they want to do it, but the consultant is not
Okay.
helping out. Sometimes they want to do it, there's no budget. Sometimes there's a budget, they've chopped the money. It's always one thing or the other, But we all know, we know what did happen. But to me, we have an opportunity right now. We have
Yeah.
Afrobeat. Afrobeat music has broken like that barrier, has built that bridge, between us and the rest of the world. And I believe, and anybody can argue with that, but I believe that Afrobeat was one of the things that made the Western world start paying attention to us more
Yeah.
in a
Definitely.
different way, right? And
Yeah.
now you hear things like the Black Book, being number one in South Korea and all that. That is the opportunity that we have right now. These
Yeah.
people, they want to hear our stories. They want to know about us. We can't be making movies that have their treadings and all that stuff. We need to be able to tell. This is the time that we're supposed to take charge and create things like things fall apart. You know,
Mm.
those guys. If we
Like
have done, if
artisans.
they can create things like that now, dude,
Okay.
it's gonna be amazing. So we have an opportunity, and I'm hoping that we are able to use it because the rest of the world they are watching right now. And I know most people don't want to say it, but it's not everything that comes out right now that is top notch. Sometimes
Of
they
course.
ruin the opportunity, but nobody wants to say it. I mean, I'm not going to even mention names, but we all know what we're talking about. So I'm just hoping that they will see these things because there was a time it was reggae music. Reggae music was what was everyone was listening to all around the world. It lasted for over a decade. Now it's Afrobeat music. We don't know how long it's going to last for, So it's time for us to milk it, use Afro
Yes.
music to sell
Definitely.
our theater, use it to sell our movies, use it to sell everything that we have, our sculptures, paintings, you know. I think this is a great time for Nigeria, Sha, but let's see how it goes.
I hope it goes well. I really hope it goes well. So I have just two more questions for you, just two, and
Two
then
more,
we play.
yay!
And we play your song, and after we play your song, then we start, we open the floor for people to interact with you. I hope you're fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So my first question is still an extension of the previous one. Let's say, would you be willing to, supervise the scoring, or would you be willing to, like, if someone hired you, okay, like, soundtrack this movie for me, score my movie for me, would you be willing to,
Oh,
buy into someone
100%.
else's?
I would love
Okay.
to do things like that. I like
Okay.
challenges like that. Yeah.
All right.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
we should put it out there.
Will they be able to pay?
I feel the money is there. For
The
some
money
of,
is
I
there,
mean,
sha, but
we're
yeah,
having
but
partnerships with Amazon, with Netflix,
yeah.
so I don't think the money is
But
not there.
sure. I hope if it comes, when it comes, let
Yeah,
me not say if it comes. Trust me,
yeah,
you know, you see you experience something different. I'm not trying to brag or anything,
yeah.
but the day that I will do the soundtrack or sound score for any movie, bro. Ah, God.
I know it's going to
Yeah,
blast. I know it's not.
it's gonna be
So my
lit.
final question: are there any artists that you've not collaborated with that you're really looking forward to
Oh,
working with?
there are loads of them, man. Loads
Okay,
of them. Now, I'm still looking forward to working. Although we chatted, and I'm waiting for him to be less busy so I can meet up with him. That's the video.
okay,
Um,
wow.
yeah, Davido, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that collaboration. And there's Burna Boy. I've tried, but men are busy. So I don't want to tell you the song that I created for
Okay,
Burna that I
okay.
sent to one of his guys,
See?
but for some reason we never pulled it through. But I don't want to. But there are some songs on three of my album. At least three songs was created for Burna.
Wow.
Yeah, but I wasn't able to get across.
Well, I hope it eventually works out.
Hmm.
That would be
Yeah,
very. That
I
would
still have a
be
lot.
very,
I still
yeah.
have a lot. Then there's one for whiskey. Guess what? I'll tell you this one, right? When I created
Okay.
the sound for Selouи, that was for whiskey.
Oh, the one with Peruzzi.
Yeah, I
Oh,
created
wow.
it. So I was like, I even sent it to him. Yeah, boy, have fun now, But it was taking so long. And
Okay.
Peruzzi is one person that can jump on anything
Anything.
and kill it. I'll shock you. All the beats on horoscopes, Peruzzi
Okay.
gave me a song on every beat.
Wow.
So I had a choice of choosing whatever I want.
Whichever
Like,
song you wanted him on.
so like, you know what? Now I'm going to choose Selovi, and that was the one we went with. So yeah, it's that kind of guy that I can always run to support me. Even
Wow.
with the One Day Cool song, listen, Peruzzi did backup for one day, but very quietly because one day was not in town and I needed backup. Peruzzi could get his voice. No, leave that, but that
Wow.
guy is not
Wow.
human. He's
So
not
if you
human.
get one this all time voice.
That guy is not, people are not taking that guy seriously.
Wow.
That guy is a beast. He's a beast.
Wow. Well, I
So
would
yeah,
have
yeah,
kept that
there are
in
more,
mind.
but very soon, like there's Tiwa, there's Ira Star.
Okay.
These people, Kai, if I create sounds with them, I believe it's gonna be wicked. But the other part of Uburu Sha is actually better than this one. Like,
Okay.
100% better. I think with Chopam. We've started working on it already, and once it's complete and you merge both albums, that's when you now feel the whole thing. It's really dope. Hopefully, I'll be able to get one or two of these guys that I'm hoping to work with on the next album.
I just have one final question for you before we round up.
Yes, one final question. Yes, let's have
So what's next? What's next
it.
for Uburu? What's next for Uburu? Can we expect visuals of any kind for any song?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, we're working right now. We're working on the visuals, two visuals actually.
Okay.
We're looking at party. We're looking at visuals of party and cover me as well. Then hopefully, I'm trying to see if we can do about like 3 or 4 videos from that album. I want to try, but for sure, visuals should come out before the end of this year. 1 or 2, by the grace of God. It's gonna happen quick. You know, I
Okay.
say my own debut from nowhere. Boom. Wow. But I've been
Are they
talking to
going to be
some video
okay?
directors, right? I've been talking to about 2 or 3 video directors, and I'm loving what they've shown me so far. Even Jolie, the what do you call it, the mood board and the storyboard and all that. It's looking
Okay.
so beautiful. I can't wait to make them. But we have everything. All we just need to do now. You know how much these things cost these days now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're
I
trying
even
to be
read this in an
wise.
article
Yeah.
somewhere
You saw,
where
yeah,
you were comparing
you
them.
saw what I said, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we need to be so we too are looking for money to fund those projects.
Okay.
But yeah, it's gonna come out soon before the end of the year.
All right. And obviously, I hope they're as conceptual as the previous ones have been for Yabasi and
Very
the Roots.
even better because we've upgraded, we've transcended. So things are better than before,
Yeah.
but now if you listen to the sound, it's not the way Uburu is not the way Yabas or horoscope sound like, right?
Definitely, definitely. They all sound different.
So yeah, very different. So what we're doing is going to play out in the visuals as well. It's going to be, the concept is going to be, dope, but this time around to be, on the level of Buru, like all the songs on the album. Definitely, the sound will translate to the visuals. That's what we're trying to do to make sure that whatever you heard will match with whatever you see.
All right, then. Thank you very much for your time. We
You're
really appreciate
welcome.
it.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so
Thank
much.
you very much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good night, everybody. Thank you for streaming
Thank
the
you very much.
album, all the albums. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you.